Okay, what was that Game of Thrones finale? What was this Game of Thrones season period? I think these writers or whoever's producing this needs to go back to high school and get some writing classes in because this writing has me confused. There's a lot of contradictions and they're not very good Easter eggs. I just came back from vacation and I caught up with the last three episodes of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and I was confused. I was like kind of mundane to it, going through the motion of it. But like I didn't realize this was a season finale until I realized that everybody was saying this is the season finale. The writing itself made me confused. Like I haven't read it, but I have heard the audiobooks and the lore. I've been here since like 2015 with the fandom and heard of it and the Deaths of the Dragons, and I feel like I understand why Georgia left. It's so many changes and it changes so many of the canonical stuff that goes on in the books. Even if you go with the theory of yourself thinking like, oh, the books are like a history book and the show is like what happens. And I just don't think it's holding up, especially with this season. Like what comes to mind is Helena specifically. Like Helena's writing, like she wanted to keep the baby. I think it was baby Maelor who she was pregnant with. But then like once Alicent leaves, she doesn't want to eat or care for the baby or do whatever she can to survive with the baby. And then spoiler alert, she like throws herself out the window. And then she tells that stuff to Rhaenyra before she throws herself out the window, where she's like, "It's ugly. You're ugly, and our father would hate you." And it's like, girl, have you seen your brothers? Have you seen your brother and betrothed and husband brother Aegon? How he has his children up in his bastards up in the pit fighting each other, raping people, burning people, riding drunk into battle. Yeah, I think we need a reality check for the dreamer here, you know? And I just didn't like that they contradicted her because she wanted to protect the baby, wanted to give birth to the baby, but then she just don't want to eat. I don't know if it's because of Alicent left. I don't think that's the case either because she wasn't even eating before then. And then we have Damon's daughters, Bayla and Rayla, I believe. And it's like, one point they're saying like, I want to go out, I want to fly, I want to prove myself. I'm not blaming the actors, by the way. I'm blaming the writing because I'm like, you got to do what you got to do. This reminds me of Emilia Clarke. I think what she had to deal with, and all those actors had to deal with the writing. Because even if you've ever seen that video clip of them like looking at their scripts, I can only imagine how these actors are. But back to his Damien's daughters, like they're saying, I want to prove myself, I want to fly, I would have been queen. There's some sort of guilt that Jace has gone because of herself. I think it was Bayla. Yeah, Bayla. And she's out flying. Let's see smoke. And then we have this small random allusion to her uncle. And then Adam and this weird triangle plot that we're sprinkling in there. But then, you follow up, and then she tells Adam Sea Smoke, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I can't deal with this. And I'm like, girl, were we just like an episode or two ago say like you want to be there at the forefront? Like, which is it? And then with Sheep Stealer and Nettle storyline, I feel like it's just getting muddled because I believe it's Rayla is supposed to be the last of the dragon and supposed to help transition and help with her dragon. I think I'm misremembering. Her dragon is kind of like what establishes Rhaenyra's child's like presence in the Targaryen presence because I think they're the last of the dragons. But I don't think we're gonna get that, or maybe we will. I don't know. It seems like characters are being like gone. Ormond, for example, has a son who marries his mother and petitions, I believe, the Faith of the Seven to marry his stepmother. And I don't know how that's gonna happen because I don't know if like Gawain is gonna be the one to marry Rayla, but then we have the Nettle storyline, and then also Mysaria, the White Worm. That was also weird. Like she just gets dismissed, and then I don't know if she's gonna take on the Shepherd, where the Shepherd, I believe, initiates the storming of the Dragon Pit, which is what Helena saw in her vision of the storming when she shouts out Dracarys to the people. But it just seems so confusing because I'm like, Mysaria is her own character, or maybe they're gonna put Mysaria as the one who initiates and pulls the strings and has the Shepherd do it. I'm not sure, but I do applaud Rhaenyra taking like reign. We're seeing Rhaenyra the Cruel come in, but I don't know, like it's not hitting the same. Like I did enjoy the Battle of Templeton, all of Ormond, Daron the Daring. I will say, like, I actually enjoy his character. You kind of do see, like, in at least in the story, that he doesn't want any of this. This poor kid just doesn't want any of this, and I think, yeah, he gets it. He dies. He's one of the people who gets like killed in the dance. But then, like, the one highlight, I try to view it as a comedy, but the only comedy I can view is Aegon. I'm Alive, Sunfire coming back, like. That's the only one that I can probably view as a comedian, and that's the one who has like the worst character. Like, this guy's not a good guy, but I can appreciate the actor putting what he has into him. But I don't really like where we're going with this direction. Don't know what Allison's doing, especially with her character, because she was very fiercely protective. The reason this dance started is because she wanted her kids on the throne, power hungry, and her kids specifically. And she was like gun ho, like upset when they gouged out like Aemon's eye, or when they were getting into fights when they were kids. But now all of a sudden, she's okay with like Rhaenyra telling her to kill Aemon so she can take care of like so her and Helena have a chance at freedom or some sort of semblance of negotiation. It's just weird and odd, and I find it odd that Rhaenyra constantly wants Alicent's validation because it's like, girl, you're the queen. Because she didn't even rely on like Kristen Cole for his validation at all. She's like, fruit picking me as a fruit stall, girl. I'm the queen. Where is that energy? Like I've been missing that energy this entire time, and I don't know if it's like she's in. I don't know if the show's just making her an to run the throne or what. And speaking of Rhaenyra, I don't know if that's in the books or not. Someone correct me about her telling the prophecy to the people. Like, I thought this whole thing, like your father said, this is like a only heir to heir sort of thing. I know two of your heirs are gone, and maybe only one of your heirs knew about it. But now I believe it's her son that she tells, and then she kills the high priest, and then tells everybody, and then speaks in High Valyrian, where no one's gonna understand her when she says, I'm the prince that was promised." Ain't nobody, maybe the people who are visiting are understanding High Valyrian, and not even Damien knows. Not even Damien knows about this prophecy, but the common people know about the prophecy. I don't know if they're just trying to make her look as an inept ruler for when her demise does come. Because like, what the hell was that? I feel like we sped read this. It was too fast. It was way too fast. I feel like it was convoluted. I don't know how. I don't even know if season 4 is going to be the end of it. I hope not. I also hope they don't kill Darren and Gwaine off screen. But I don't know if Gwaine's going to be the one who marries. Because he says he's the second born for Hightower and Ormond's gone. There's just a lot of plot points. And I'm just kind of like, Game of Thrones, what is this behavior? I don't understand the writing. I feel like it's convoluted. And then like, I believe the writer of the show on record was saying like, I can't focus on every single detail. I've read the books enough, I've read the show enough to know what's good or not. And it's like, I can see why George left, because some of those I can see why those tiny plot points are crucial, just because it's like they add to the story, and it's like things of like character stats, storylines, and that's because I feel there's less characters and like more straightforward characters, or like minor sub characters that you could have meshed, but the main characters, there's not that many compared to like the original Game of Thrones season, where you kind of have way too many characters to do with. I feel like we have a set cast and a set story, and I also don't understand with writers wanting to rush these stories. If you have the budget, Game of Thrones has the budget. When it does good, it does good. Just look at Night of the Seven Kingdoms. 30 minutes. The characters are amazing. The story is amazing. It's adding. It's not taking. And we have our set characters. So why can't House of the Dragon do that? We'll just have to see what season 4 has to come. But let me know your thoughts. Because this whole season, I feel like I'm missing more. It's way too short. I'm confused about who these characters are and why all of these contradictions are coming. Especially like with Helena, Alicent. Yeah. Yeah, I'm confused.